Hello everyone. This video we're going to figure out how to do simple following enemies. Here is the game as we know it. So our little guy, we're going to work on these. These little snakes are following me there. And as I run by, if I hit them, they'll take away my life. So I have to make sure to dodge them. Later I'll add like a shooting or a projectile aspect to it. For right now I just have to dodge them and go around. So we're going to create these enemies that spawn and that chase you around. Okay, we'll set their velocity and we'll set them up. Later we'll add other things to interact with them, but right now we're just setting up enemies that can follow you through the map. Okay, so let me zoom this out. If you want to take a look at the code and just kind of reproduce it, it's this here. These are animations. I'm gonna put these off to the side here. We can ignore these for now. These are just the animations for the for it. So you can take a screenshot of this. Here's what the code looks like. But don't just take a screenshot and ignore the rest of this video because I'm going to show you some different things. And if your code doesn't work, it's maybe because you forgot to do something. So let's do this really quickly. So the first thing is, let me reset this here. Let's take it back to our original game here. We'll walk through step by step. So now we have our animations. We can just move this off to this side now. I improved the spawning from last time. So rather than spawning on a random location or a location, the way I was doing it was really correctly. I use this block, place my sprite on top of random thing. I only use one of these. So in the tile map, you want to get just one. See, that's the rock right there. Get a thing, or you can make your own, a tile that you just use one of, and that can be your starting point for each level. So you put this here, just one, set that to your spawn location. It's in the scene. It's in the scene here, right? So you say place my sprite on top of random. It will just place it in one spot. This is also how you'll do spawns. But let's talk about how we're going to do these enemies. So the first thing we have to do is set the tile map. And we have to set places for it to spawn. Okay, so we set a place for us to spawn. We're going to set a place for them to spawn. I use these little icons here. I put them randomly throughout the map. Okay, I put a bunch here, like kind of the final push. But every place you put a little symbol, that's where I want my enemies to spawn. So that's where we have to start first. So on your tile map, the first thing you do is wherever your tile map looks like, you need to put these different spawn locations for the different sprites. Okay. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a function that makes the enemies. Okay. We're going to functions. We're going to make a new one. We're going to call this spawn any. Okay. It's always a good practice to do all lowercase and all one word. Okay. And I always forget this. I'm going to do it now. Make sure to put the call function in here. Okay. Make sure you put it in there because you can build all this great code here, but if you forget to make your character, let me show what happens. So I have all this great code for the character, but I forget to put that in there. My character doesn't spawn and the game doesn't work, right? So it just breaks the whole thing. So one little mistake can mess you up. So I'm just going to put that back there. Okay, so function spawn enemies. What we're going to do is we're going to go to loops and we're going to grab this for element of this list. Okay, so what this means is for the value of the things in here, we're going to do this. So of this, and we're going to use an array. Think of an array as like a list of things. Okay, we're going to find this array of all locations. Okay, so think of it as a list, right? You can have an array like at a snack bar, right? The array of the snack bar would be like the menu, all the things at the snack bar, right? So think of the array as in the list. Okay, so for the value of the one I'm going to put down here, array of all these locations, we're going to set this as our spawn location. So it's this little icon for me. Okay. Next thing is we're going to create our elements, or create our little sprites, right? This is something we know how to do. So set, and we're going to create a new thing called my enemy. So you can go new variable and type new enemy or my enemy. Okay. You can't use the word enemy because that's already in here, so we call it my enemy. And now we're going to create our sprite kind of enemy, and we're going to create our sprite. Just for our purposes, I'm just going to make it a little snake, a little scary snake. This one's very scary. We'll do that one as our snake. And of course, you can edit and change your own sprites as you like, right? So don't just copy my game outright, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're setting this value as this. Okay. We're going to set our enemy. Now we're going to place this enemy on top of these values, which is this, right? So we're going to go to scene, and there's two things. So there's this one. There's place my sprite on top of random. That would be for your player or for something you just want one of. If you want it to be placed on all of the spawn points, you would do this one. Okay. So we do this one. Place my sprite on top of, and then we want the values. What we're going to do is we're going to click and drag this. Okay. So what you're saying is we're making these equal. So you're telling the computer that value, when I put this word value, I'm talking about this thing. Okay. Then I want you to make this. Then I want you to place my enemy. See, I gotta check my variables out. Place my enemy, which is this, on top of the value. And the value is all these things. Okay, so it's kind of like a loop. It has to, it's called, our logic has to make sense here. And you really can read it like you're reading a paragraph, reading a word. All right. So now if I did this right and I walk around, there should be snakes. There they are. Snakes on top of all of those icons. Okay, so we have all these snakes. So now they don't really do anything. They're just kind of sprites. They're just kind of there. They don't really do anything. Right. So now I have to fix that part. Next part is we're going to have them chase us. So go to sprites, and we're going to set my enemy to follow sprite. I'm changing it there. So now when I walk around, all of these will kind of zoom over to me. See how fast they are? Those are way too fast, and if they gave me damage, I would be way dead by now, right? So by default, you're going to mess around these numbers because your number's a little different from mine. I'm going to say 30. I think that's slow enough for me to get around them, but quick enough that it's not boring. All right, there we go. Dive, duck, and dodge. Look at this. Got it. All right. So now I got that. And those kind of all be attracted to me here. Refresh and stop that. Okay. Now our next thing is we need to, well, first we got to think about lives, and then we got to think about if I get hit by it, what happens. Okay. So we're going to go into info, and we're going to set our lives. Again, choose whatever number you like. I'm choosing 5. When you create this, in the top left, your lives will spawn up there. All right. And now we need to do, if they overlap with us, something happens. Okay. So we go to sprites. When this one right here, right? On sprite. When the kind of sprite overlaps with us, something's going to happen. All right. So when the sprite of a player overlaps with any other sprite of a kind of an enemy, I want this to happen. Okay. They're just saying is when one thing meets another, do this. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to destroy. And we don't want my sprite to destroy, we want the enemies to be destroyed, right? Because then it'll just keep attacking us and keep lowering our lives. So what that means is you're going to destroy, not my enemy, you're going to destroy the other sprite. So this will happen each time. If you leave this here, nothing will happen because it wants to destroy the variable. And it already made those, but that's not, it's a kind of a conflict there. In theory, it should destroy all the enemies because all of these things are called my enemy. Think of it as names, right? But what we want to happen is we want to destroy the other sprite. So if I walk around here, it destroys that one, okay? And if I do it wrong, let's see what happens. Maybe I can destroy my sprite. Can I claim that? Let me duplicate this. What happens if I do this? Let's check this real quick. In theory, will this work? If I hit it, the sprite should disappear. It does. See, now I destroyed my sprite. So you probably want to make sure you have the right one. That's a bug. We're going to fix that. All right. We can get rid of that. Okay, to destroy my sprite, and we want a life to be taken out. Where's the life here? Info, change score. No, score. We want to change life by -1. Okay. If you have anything in your game that gives you lives, right? Like maybe a little power up, you make that a positive number. But here's this. So let's see if I can get around it. Ooh, look at my moves. Great. If I hit it, see how my stars are going down, my hearts. And after it is game over. Okay. So that is a very quick way on how to do simple enemies that chase you. Okay. Next time, we're going to work on enemies that kind of follow a path or enemies that can do other things. Okay. But that's a very quick way on how to do enemies that follow you next time.